You a little bit, but it's your calls that make it fun. We'll take a break and be right back.
Oh, we got about 10 more seconds. So again, phone lines are open, or go to therealmoneypros.com. We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Make this year that you work smarter, not harder, with Ataraxis. As your strategic partner, Ataraxis becomes an extension of your business, taking the burden of HR, payroll, benefits, workers' compensation, compliance, and staffing off your plate. You'll have more time to focus on operating and growing your business. Let Ataraxis handle the details so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at ataraxis.com. That's ATARAXIS.com.
As we age, managing our finances can become increasingly complex with ever-changing tax laws, estate planning, insurance needs, and investment environments. At Apollon Wealth Management, their goal is simple: to help enrich your life with personalized, expert financial advice. With a nationwide network of advisors, they're committed to delivering the best solutions for your financial future. It's time to take control and get the guidance you deserve. Connect with an advisor today by visiting The Real Money Pros. That's therealmoneypros.com.
Looking to make your dream of home ownership a reality? Look no further than Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender. Academy strives to offer the best rates and terms tailored to your financial situation. At Academy Mortgage, you'll be treated like family, not just another file. Navigating today's ever-changing housing market can be challenging, but their team is here to help. Experience the zero-down options, including loans with no mortgage insurance. They also provide specialized medical professional loans and unique 2-to-1 rate buydowns that reduce your monthly payment for the first initial years of your loan. And forget about dealing with brokers and middlemen. With Academy Mortgage, everything happens in-house, from origination to funding. Say goodbye to hassles and surprises. Begin your home ownership journey today by visiting them online at academymortgage.com. That's academymortgage.com.
Academy Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 3113, is an equal housing lender.
Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Now, back to the Real Money Pros.
And we're back. Welcome to the Real Money Pros. Jeremiah Bates, Brian Wiley. We are live. Any financial topic you have top of mind, call us. 979-59-MONEY. That is 979-596-6639.
Sponsor supported, of course. You can go to our website, join the newsletter, please, and participate with us. If you're looking for ideas that drip on you over time, it's the newsletter that's probably going to do it every 3 months. That's when you get it, unless something really special happens. Then we'll send it out. And you get a tax corner in there. There's going to be estate planning conversations, but it's things to get you thinking. It's never being sold to you. However, the sponsors are there. That's the reason this show exists, other than your phone calls. 979-596-6, meaning they're in support of your phone calls. 979-596-6639. Big life events are typically the motivator for somebody to finally take action, and to take action and do something different. Like, it may take a big, maybe a financial loss before you go visit a financial advisor and sit down and submit. You know, you think you're fine, and then you get to these big events and you finally want to do it. Wouldn't it be easier if you just had maintenance to do all the way up until that event, meaning you did some level of planning, you had the education, and maybe you'd be better prepared to be able to handle it? 979-59-MONEY is the phone line. That's 979-596-6639. All right, we have do we have a caller on the line? Am I missing that one? No. Jeremiah, do you see a caller on there?
I thought we had a caller. Maybe Austin calling. Austin, you there?
Is Austin there? Is he on hold?
We'll get him we'll get him when he gets there. But kind of continuing this conversation around, Brian, you brought up a point where, where's that trade-off where you have extra options inside of the 401k, such as alternative investments or cryptocurrency? I think a lot of the younger generation is going to want that. But how many times have you seen this, Brian, where you meet with someone and they're doing the right things, where they're actively deferring money into their 401k. They're taking advantage of the company match. They're doing the delayed gratification, which fundamentally is great. I mean, you're on the right trajectory. However, there's that nuance of how are you actually allocating the dollars, and they'll just inevitably end up in a target date fund that is too conservative, meaning you're 20, 30 years out from retirement and you're in a target date fund that essentially assumes that you're going to retire in a year or two. So there is that trade-off, but is having more options in the 401k the solution? No. What the solution is understanding your 401k, understanding the investments that are inside of them, and making sure that you align that with your timeline of when you're actually going to use the money. I think that's way more important than introducing some complex investments such as cryptos or private alternative investments.
But I definitely ran into this problem with a friend. I was helping her with her allocation with her company 401k. She has everything she needs to be able to be very successful over the long run in her 401k. She had like 35 years to be able to be in it. And then I was really kind of bothered by the limited choices of funds that are in there, meaning she had exposure to basically U.S. growth, small cap, mid cap, large cap, all the basics, but nothing to be able to drill down. It's like I was telling her, I'm like, God, I'd really like to be able to tilt with her over toward the technology side of it because she's got 35 years to be in it, but she can't do it. So that's where market access has to be somewhat of a question. Let's get to the phone lines. We've got Austin on the line. Austin, thanks for calling the Real Money Pros. Hello, Austin.
Hey, Brian. Thanks for taking my call.
Hi. Yeah, thank you. What can we do for you?
Hey. So I've got some pretty big losses in my 401k. I bought some stock in a company that went bankrupt a few years ago. And I'm just wondering if I can do anything like write off my losses against any gains.
Is there any chance
like
that the money that you had invested in your 401k was an after-tax contribution? Is there any chance that happened? Or is this all payroll deductions and pre-tax?
All payroll deductions.
All right. Sadly, no. So that is so one of the benefits of the 401k or any qualified plan is the notion that you get tax deferral. And the tax deferral means not only is there going to be treatment at how you put your money into it, and that could be the before tax or the after tax contribution, it's the treatment during the middle. So the middle is when you're investing the money. You have your gains, you have losses. Exactly. You have gains, you don't have to tell the IRS about it, which means you have losses, you don't have a reason to tell the IRS about it because there's nothing they can do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it stinks. Obviously, it's sad to do that, but here's a good thing, Austin. You did this a few years ago, and are you still relatively young?
Yeah, I just turned 30.
Okay. Did you lose a giant amount of money, or is it just a large portion of your 401k?
It's about 25%.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. It's probably not so significant of a loss that it was going to completely derail your retirement. So you didn't make a necessarily bad decision. You made a decision probably based on some information that you had at the time, and then maybe you had a little too much optimism or whatever it might have been, but it came back and got you. The good news about this is that you will be a better investor because of it. And so now you've got time. So it's kind of like getting your lesson early versus late, which that's not such a great story. And Austin, thanks so much for the phone call. Is there anything else we can do for you?
No, I think that was the only question I had.
All right. Well, that kind of brings to the same question. And Austin, thank you. We appreciate that. Should the employer be liable at all? So let's imagine the employer was the one that was promoting a particular investment to that employee, like Austin. Austin buys into it, or they even just provided access to it. And let's imagine Austin was on the other end of the calendar here of his life, and he was 60-something. He's got to point the finger at somebody saying, well, you provided it in there, you promoted or whatever it might be, so I've got to have somebody else share this financial problem, so they sue.
Yeah, insert the Department of Labor. The
Department
government
of Labor, the SEC, the representative who sold the plan to the company fiduciary, the fiduciary who's actually sponsored the plan, the executive that signed it, they are directly and individually liable.
That's why when it comes to 401k establishment, it's important to understand the entire ecosystem. I think most, especially small business owners who are successful, they're looking at their own personal tax return. And they're like, what can I do to lower this tax obligation? I mean, we're doing traditional IRAs and I can't do a SEP IRA because I got employees. So I'm not really moving the needle as far as my pre-tax deferral. What can I do? They'll obviously look at 401ks because those deferral limits are much higher. It allows that company to do profit sharing into the company, which can further reduce their tax burden. I mean, there's a lot of positives to that, but there's always two sides of the coin, and there's devils in the detail. Where if you look at the 401k, if you want to set this up and you have employees, you are going to take on a fiduciary high liability position to make sure that that benefit for the employees is managed for the benefit of the employees. There's proper allocations or investment options in there, and they're also getting proper disclosures. They're getting proper education along the line. So
why is this? Okay, I have a fundamental problem with the idea that the Department of Labor and companies gotten into this heavily regulated space where their risk is so great for somebody to be able to save their own money. The fact is, in my opinion, we shouldn't even have the 401ks. I actually believe we should actually just dump money into an IRA. We all have the same limits. You can invest in whatever it is that you want to invest in, and what your results are your results.
Agree with that 100%.
But that's not the case.
Well, yeah, and then you look at the 401k side of things too. It is fee heavy, meaning the time for administration and the cost to keep this thing compliant and in good order. It's largely unachievable or doesn't make financial sense, especially for a small business owner. So then to your point, Brian, it's either you're eligible for a traditional IRA, maybe a simple IRA where just things get confusing, they get mixed up, whereas let's just have one standard account that if you have the ability to contribute into it, that allows that U.S. taxpayer to put money into it. There doesn't need to be all these restrictions, guidelines, rails, interpretations. Let's just make it easy. Ease of access.
You want to fix the tax code? Replace it. You want to fix the retirement system? Replace it. That's what needs to happen. What are your thoughts? 979-59-MONEY. This is the Real Money Pros.
Being a fiduciary means putting clients' needs first. This commitment to acting in the client's best interest is equally important when it comes to finding the right insurance. At Advisor Insurance Solutions, they believe in taking a comprehensive approach to your financial well-being. They craft personalized, purpose-driven strategies that align with your overall wealth management goals. Whether you're looking for life, disability, or long-term care insurance, visit us at therealmoneypros.com. I'm Nick Daniels with Tree City Advisors of Apollon. My team and I help our clients implement tax-smart strategies because taxes are one of the largest headwinds your investments face. We use strategies like Roth conversions, 1031 exchanges, and more because a good advisor should help you with more than just investment selection. Visit us today at treecityadvisors.com or call us at 208-888-1244.
Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then use tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively. Our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
If you have a small business, Staples has your sign.
Banners for my bakery?
Staples has your sign.
Oh, posters for my new pet store.
Floor decals for a pharmacy.
Every day, Staples associates help every kind of small business create bold signs to make big impressions. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. This is your sign, so print it big at Staples. Ends 5/28. Visit staplesconnect.com/thisisyoursign for details.
Imagine financial advice without a sales pitch to buy something, and imagine a long-term financial plan focused on your goals, not somebody else's, and the day that you can leave your broker because you know how to do things on your own. At Tree City Advisors, we do things a bit differently than our peers. First, we help you define your purpose for investing. We help you clean up messes or complicated financial issues from your past. We help you organize all your financial pieces into something manageable. We're a fiduciary-only firm, and we design simple strategies. And we teach you how it all works without clutter, confusion, or high cost. We can either do your investments for you or we can teach you how to do them on your own. In the end, we empower you with knowledge, lower fees, and confidence. Welcome to Tree City Advisors. This is the way we think if financial advisors should work for their clients. At Tree City Advisors, we provide flat fee planning and training. We also offer full service asset management, and we employ do-it-yourself technologies. There's never a fee for an initial meeting or review, so let's get started. Learn more at treecityadvisors.com. Tree City Advisors is an SEC registered investment advisor.
You're listening to The Real Money Pros.
And we're back. This is The Real Money Pros. Again, phone lines are open. 979-59-MONEY, 979-596-6639. I'm Jeremiah Bates, joined with Brian Wiley, fiduciary financial advisors, here for you. Any topics are fair game. You want to talk about retirement. You want to talk about how to manage a 401k. You want to talk about tax efficiencies. You want to talk about the real life scenarios where perhaps you had the loss of a loved one, a spouse, and how do you handle the settlement of life insurance, the handlement of the 401ks, their retirement accounts? How can you proactively make sure that benefit carries on to their kids? It's a real life scenario I ran into this week. These things are all part of the ecosystem that we have in-depth knowledge on. So again, call us 979-596-6639.
Kind of getting under my skin now the more I keep thinking about this. It's control. So when I first was learning to get into this industry and I was taking my exams and studying, and there was this thing about knowing your client, but there was a very strong emphasis of telling your client no. Like we could refuse. It was like really beat into us. And really what the reason for that was, you may have a client that's trying to get you to purchase something that is out of their risk tolerance or you don't approve of it. The reality is you allow them to do that, then they get it, they experience the losses that you knew they were going to have, and then they sue you, right? So that's the reason why they say they would encourage us to say no to the client. So what does that mean to you, though? Does that restrict your good ideas? Oh, I know better. So I'm going to go out there, I'm going to find a way to get it. That's the reason why we have these other custodians pop up, like Robinhood or Share Builder or whatever they're alternatives, because you want fewer no's. No, you don't have enough money to buy a whole share of that. So yes, now you can buy a partial share of it. So you go to Share Builder. These are how we basically invent ourselves around restrictions. The problem that I have with the tax code or the 401k setup or the fact that we're adding some new provision to it is we're covering something up. It's like an injury with multiple layers of Band-Aids and never getting to the fact that the host itself that has the lesion on its skin actually has a systemic problem, not the lesion. The lesion's not the problem. It's something systemic. And what's systemically wrong right now is we openly accept complexity as the better solution versus efficiency, because we're concerned that people will either lose their jobs or their industry as a result of it. Who would lose their jobs if we had no 401k industry and no Department of Labor that was looking over it? Okay. Insurance companies are very disappointed in it because they're the ones to sponsor annuities and oftentimes a lot of 401ks. You've got third-party administrators, so the administration companies that are there to help for record keeping and all of that. That industry would be eviscerated. A lot of benefits management companies. So I think that a lot of brokers of like individual life insurance or health insurance benefits would probably do better, but the ones that are bringing that all in as a big package, like the paychecks type firms, they would suffer. Who cares? That's my point. Who cares? We're putting AI online right now at such a fast pace. We already know that there's going to be mass layoffs with companies coming up, and we're already accepting it because that's just going to be the result of AI, right? So the benefits must outweigh the drawbacks. So I don't know. What would happen if we actually had these sweeping changes on the labor laws or the 401ks, pension rules, the IRA deferral limits? There is no constitutional support that says that we shouldn't have equal access to the same savings accounts as every other working American, period. 401ks right now if you don't work for a company that offers one, you can't defer $30,500 to a 401k if you're over the age of 55 this year. Your max is going to be stuck at the limits of an IRA. $6,500. Sorry. How will you ever catch up? You won't. And then you're just more dependent upon a broken system, which is Social Security. So this is just political control. When do we stop accepting this? And when do you actually ask for the changes? I appreciate what President Trump is doing. The problem that I have, obviously, is that sometimes it's just the way he will do stuff. But the fact is that there's a modicum of truth to all of the things that he is now after. And the fact is that we knew 10, 15 years ago that we needed to separate from China. I was talking about it on the air 15 years ago, 20 years ago, as a matter of fact, because we used to talk about the so-called nuclear option of China, of them to suddenly dump all of our bonds back onto our market, which would be like Walmart at the time destroying a trailer park that sits right next to it. You don't get rid of your customers. And so we knew that wasn't going to happen, but we knew that China was not on our side. But it took the frustration to get us to this point where now things are just extra volatile. And then, again, we're covering up a problem with just another layer of, it's like just sweeping under a bigger rug. That's it. Until later. Later, it'll expose itself.
Well, I think that's a common theme of kick the can down the road, and we'll try to announce something, making a mountain out of a molehill, where I thought that there was a lot of, when that democratizing the ability to invest, like add extra investments inside of the 401k, like what we're talking about, it's like, okay, I mean, this is not transformational. Like this is not a make or break, in my opinion, that's going to make someone financially solvent just because you're allowing some items that give one an ability to invest in it inside of a 401k. But it's being portrayed that, hey, we're allowing all these various options for you that the wealthy individuals are taking advantage of, especially in these, like a private credit fund. It's like, okay, well, how about we really focus on the understanding of how a private credit fund actually works and the benefits and the pros and cons and analysis of that? Or how about we actually look at the investment options that are available inside of 401ks, how that works, and understanding those before we add, to your point, Brian, complexities, which, again, isn't necessarily a fix to anything. It sounds like it's going to be a fix, but in my opinion, it doesn't move the needle impactfully for any reason. Maybe the cryptocurrency world, or, people who are very optimistic about the cryptocurrency ecosystem, they're, fist pumping in the air of, yeah, we're going to get some more money injection because now we're opening up this whole retirement space of 401ks of that they will now be allowed to invest in Bitcoin. But okay, how does that help the grander scheme of things? In my opinion, it doesn't.
Well, it remaining complex is actually great for us. The fact is, I'm a financial advisor that sits down with people and tries to figure out or navigate a good, efficient path, knowing all the rules and laws that exist. If it was really simple, they probably wouldn't need us because we'll just teach them how to invest. That's easy. Just read our book. That's it. Very simple. Go to therealmoneypros.com. We'll tell you more about it. Just say you're requesting a book that puts more pressure, too, on the team here to make sure that thing gets edited and done. All right. How do you fix this as an employer? And I can tell you right now, here's your workaround. Here's your 25 years worth of experience, which is change the language inside your 401ks. So you got to go to your third-party administrator and add this. You allow in-service distributions. This will fix it because now the employee can roll money out of the 401k into their own IRA named at any custodian that they want to invest it in anything that they want. And if you allow that, that means you can still put your match in. The employee still gets their 401k and can use your funds if they want, but it allows them to take money not out of it, but move it. So a different location of those qualified funds. And I mean, I say nobody loses. You actually gain. The employee gains access. You're giving them the access back. But see, most people don't know that it's just literally a line inside of the 401k document, the plan document.
Yeah, and you may already have that ability to do that, meaning if you're getting a substantial balance in your 401k, you're a little bit frustrated with the fund lineup. You know what? I really want to be able to self-direct this. I wish I could have the hands on the wheel, not just have my 15 mutual funds to choose from, which again isn't all bad for those TSP contributors out there. There is something to be said about the simplicity of the I fund, the G fund, the S fund.
But TSP actually allows in-service rollovers or distributions to occur.
And
so you see how it doesn't matter because they can have those great funds there.
And they recently established a mutual fund window. So it's a branch off, but you can only do a certain percentage of your total account value. I think it's limited at 20%. Meaning
TSP is the thrift savings plan that the federal government offers federal workers to include postal workers and so on. So that's the TSP plan. They're very familiar with it. Technically a 457 plan, right?
Yeah, it walks and talks a lot.
It's like a 401k.
Walks and talks a lot like a 401k.
Yep.
But if you're in this seat where you're putting money in your 401k and you're frustrated with it, look at the plan document or generally someone in your HR and say, hey, does the plan allow for this? Does the plan allow for that? Not all 401ks are cut and dry. It's not like black and white. Whoever created the plan, you can allow for certain provisions. Maybe it allows for Roth contribution. Maybe it allows for after-tax contributions that allow you to contribute above and beyond that limit of, let's say, $30,000 if you're over the age of 50. And then maybe it allows you to do backdoor Roths on that after-tax contribution, aka the mega backdoor Roth. It's a dumb name in my opinion, but that's the name that it has. So I think a lot of people are surprised when you actually either dive into the plan document or reach out to the department that is well-versed in your 401k. You're like, wow, I'm really not as handcuffed or hamstrung that I once thought I was. There's actually some movements. Or maybe it allows for a brokerage link, like meaning you can establish an account that's tied to your 401k that allows you to invest in multiple things. I got a number of clients where they had no idea. We read through the plan documents like, wait a minute, we can open up your own account that you can self-manage where we can invest in individual bonds, ETFs, individual stocks. So it's just understanding the plan.
And they're not the easiest things to just open up and read. Like prepare your pillow. I can say that. You might get through a page. If you need some help with that, reach out to us. We'll take a look at it. It's realmoneypros.com. Use the Ask the Experts feature. Call us here on the program. We'll be right back. Businesses today face a barrage of challenges. They hunt for top talent, the search for the right benefits package, and the ever-rising tide of healthcare rates. And putting together the right team to run your HR-related tasks can be expensive, let alone time-consuming. Enter Ataraxis PEO, your professional employer organization ready to tackle all your HR needs from payroll to benefits administration, payroll services, workers' compensation, and talent recruiting. They've got you covered. With Ataraxis, you gain access to a team of experts who handle the nitty-gritty of HR, freeing you up to focus on what you do best, growing your business and growing your revenue. Ataraxis takes the time to learn about your business, crafting personalized solutions to help you and your team succeed. So say goodbye to the stress of HR administration and hello to Ataraxis. Experience the power of a true business partner with Ataraxis PEO. Visit ataraxispeo.com. That's ATARAXISPEO.com. Ataraxis, elevating businesses for the benefit of all.
I know you've been waiting a little bit longer than normal.
Jen's manicure spot needs an extra pair of hands.
Who's at the front desk right now?
Someone who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
Deidre's not coming in today, but we have that whole bachelorette party.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then then use tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively. Our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
And we're back to the Real Money Pros.
This is the Real Money Pros, a live financial program right here on Saturdays. So you catch the same time, same place, but you can always call the program. We'd like to encourage you to do so. 979-59-MONEY. If you've got questions, we've got answers. If you're not asking the questions, we're not going to be answering what you're thinking or what you're wondering. If you've got comments, we'll take that as well. What do you think is a good fix for the system? Are you satisfied with the direction of the United States right now? Do you feel better economically? Share your thoughts. We've got the next hour as well. You can go to therealmoneypros.com, continue listening to the program if your station stops playing it for the second hour, and but you can certainly pick it up there. You can also see us right now. Jeremiah is, well, put it this way. One of us is really handsome.
As we both look into the camera.
All right, yeah, he's a lot younger. I get it. He already won on just that side of it alone. All right. So how do you work around these systems? And I talked about that, just changing the plan document. Well, the plan document is actually a document that the employees have access to as well. So they should be able to download. So if you go to your Fidelity account, you should be able to download the plan document and read what was actually signed. Those are the provisions of your 401k that sometimes if you were to even call the service line, let's imagine you get somebody that's representing the plan on the behalf of your company. They may not see some of the things immediately. If you call them and say, hey, what is my, let's say, retirement distribution age? Is it 55 or is it 59 and a half? Did you know that you could ask that question? I bet a lot of you didn't. Ask the question. The person who immediately represented it might just say, no, it's 59 and a half. But if you look inside the plan document, if it doesn't say 55, then I believe that it has to actually say that they won't allow early, right?
I don't know if it has to have that specific, like if the specific language of how it reads within the plan document. But at the end of the day, you do your research yourself or someone within the company who's well versed in the 401k. You ask that question, you're going to be able to find it. If it gives that provision.
That probably catches people by, they're like, what? 55? Yeah, that's true. This is actually the reason why you should hesitate to roll your money out of an old 100%. 401k into an IRA, because you may be changing the rules. So imagine that you lost your job at age 56, which seems to be a real prime number for a lot of companies. It's the highest paid time, and if they can replace you with lower, they'll lay you off. And at 56, you're thinking, well, I'll just go get reemployed, and you find yourself a little surprised 2 years into it, you're still unemployed. Where are you getting your money from? If you leave it in the 401k, you could be drawing it from that 401k and avoiding the 10% penalty for early withdrawal. If you rolled it to an IRA, which is commonly going to be the advice of a financial advisor because they can't really fee it or charge it or control it until it's something in their purview, and let's say it's in an IRA, well, then you are stuck to age 59 and a half, which means you pay that 10% penalty. Otherwise, you'd have to maybe do a 72T, which is what's called substantial equal payments. It's like turning on a 5-year pension. You can't turn it off. You got to continue to take the payments out of it, pay the taxes on it, the whole bit. But inside the 401k, you may have that option.
Well, another piece, too, ran into this recently where someone's spouse passed away. The spouse had various employer benefits. It was 457, deferred comp, and luckily, through kind of the fact finding that we were doing, we uncovered that we wanted to make sure that we didn't roll the entire thing out, that we left a portion in there, which would then allow basically kind of like a profit share contribution into the company that is going to happen months in the future once they actually calculated it and followed the standard timeline of doing those employer contributions into the plan. But if that question wasn't asked, or if it was just hey, let's fill the paperwork out, let's do this rollover, that account would have shut down. There's no money left into it, and unlikely, at least it wouldn't have been as easy. There probably was a mechanism where they would still be entitled to that employer contribution amount, but it's likely going to be more phone calls, more paperwork, more delays. So understanding these accounts are extremely important, extremely important.
So let me give you a scenario. I want to see how you navigate through this with those rules in mind, which is, okay, you got a gentleman that comes to you age 57. He's got a 401k, and the company is allowing him to keep it there for a year. He's trying to get a job, can't find a job. He's now concerned, should he start taking money out of it? Age 57, he's got to have some support, but he thinks he may get a job here soon. How would you treat this, where the company, he's got to take the money and remove it from their 401k here within the next month? I'm making this up.
Well, I mean, you got a few options. I mean, you could do rollover to IRA. I mean, and then you could look at a 60-day rollover rule. I mean, I think there would need to be some more questions that I would ask, meaning like, really, what is the likelihood of you getting reemployed? Does your current employer offer a 401k? Does your current 401k
here's some info.
does your current employer offer a early withdrawal? Meaning like it's.
Do you have loans against it?
Do you have loans?
Yep.
Like meaning like
okay. Here's some other one. Part-time income. He may have some part-time income. This would be common. So he's looking for a job, but he's doing some consulting time and he's picking up some money here and there. My advice immediately would be set up a solo 401k.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And roll your 401k into the solo 401k. And even if that business only works for 1 year and you close it down because you got a great new job, you just found a workaround on a complex system that is waiting for guys like us to find the workaround. Do you not see the problem to our politicians? That's the problem. 979-59-MONEY. That's 979-596-6639. And I'm a fiduciary. I have to come up with these ideas for my clients when they're legal. All right, let's go to Kurt. Kurt, thanks for calling the Real Money Pros.
Hey, gentlemen. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. What can we do for you?
Well, I've got a comment and a couple of questions. First comment, discovered this program a few weeks ago, driving around doing my side hustle. I wanted to compliment you and thank you for the service. It's
thanks.
Fantastic to be able to talk finance and investing on the weekends when CNBC is just showing Shark Tank.
Which is not a bad show all the time. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I think it's great, but doesn't help much with my day trading. So, question, I've got an IRA where I'm sitting about 40% in cash, and I like to keep that cash, keep my powder dry when my long-term investments come in and I can get them at a better price. But in the meantime, say 3 to 6 month time horizon, is there any advantage or disadvantage to like a U.S. Treasury versus a bond versus a CD? Because it seems like the return's pretty similar right about now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I appreciate you looking at the timeline of it. If you're looking at a 3 to 6 month period, you're looking at it through the right lens, meaning you're looking at investment options that are AKA liquid. They're available to you when you need it, but you're getting a better yield or better interest than just sitting in straight money market or straight cash. So, I mean, really, you're just kind of comparing the options. I mean, if you're going in a CD route, a certificate of deposit, you could argue that you have a higher limit of protection because generally speaking, those are FDIC insured. You can go a short, if you're talking about a U.S. Treasury, you could look at that as the equivalent of a CD. And I'll put it this way. If debt by the U.S. comes under scrutiny or fails, then I would argue our FDIC insurance coverage protection, that's likely going to be subject to failure there as well. Yeah. So really, in my opinion, you would look at it through the lens of the term, the rate of return you're getting. The CD is likely not going to fluctuate in value, to be clear, because it's going to be a stated instrument issued by a bank. It's here's the term, here's the amount, and
it doesn't fluctuate.
There's no
market value.
There's no market, meaning there's no market saying, hey, we are valuing this CD at this price versus a bond. You could see that price fluctuate a little bit, but on the flip side, if you're doing a short-term maturity like a U.S. Treasury, say a 3 or 6 month, those are likely not going to fluctuate in value as much because they're shorter term maturities, right? People are essentially saying, hey, we want to get in, hold it for that limited period of time, but you could still see that price fluctuation.
Does that work for you?
So really six half dozen the other. Kind of what I assumed, but if you guys are obviously more versed, I wanted to make sure there wasn't something I was overlooking.
Simple question, though.
If I have time,
question for you, Kurt. How much money?
Yeah. Like about 40% of my IRA.
Okay, so let's just say it's a couple $100,000 bucks. And then the timeline on it. So when we go researching these things, just try to figure out what's your time worth too when we're talking about just very small. You're living so far to the right of the decimal point that we don't allow that to want to start wagging everything else that's going on. But yeah, you're asking the right questions. It's good. I just want to make sure everybody else understands. I had clients that would drive around which for $20,000 they had in their bank account, drive into a different bank because instead of paying 0.10, they're paying 0.15. I'm like, golly, what's your time worth? That's the fact. Sometimes our investments get so complicated, it prohibits us from actually investing in them. So paralysis by analysis in full effect. And that actually does cause a lot of problems. So it's the education, it's the plan, the complexity of the investments will also really depend upon what the objectives are, the investment experience. But should you be restricted from it? Or should you just be allowed to make a dumb decision every once in a while? And is that such a bad thing? Austin's trying to figure that one out for himself. And thanks for the call earlier, Austin. This is Real Money Pros. Keep listening.
The Real Money Pros is hosted by Brian Wiley and other team members of Tree City Advisors of Apollon. Tree City Advisors of Apollon is a DBA of Apollon Wealth Management, an SEC-registered investment advisor and affiliate of the Real Money Pros. The Real Money Pros and Tree City of Apollon are not affiliated with any of the companies or non-advisor professionals participating on this program. Ataraxis PEO and Apollon Wealth Management are financial sponsors of the Real Money Pros. Additionally, Apollon receives advisory fees for these sponsors and or their representatives for investment advice. Log into therealmoneypros.com to contact the host for advice, show archives, educational material, and more. This program is brought to you by the quality sponsors heard within this broadcast.
Apollon Wealth Management has transformed the way our team delivers financial advice. With their support, we're more equipped and more empowered than ever to provide top-tier financial planning, investment management, and personalized financial guidance. Apollon has been a key partner in helping us achieve our clients' unique financial goals. Whether you're an advisor looking to enhance your client experience or an investor ready to take your wealth management to the next level, reach out today to the Real Money Pros by visiting therealmoneypros.com. Let's elevate your financial future today.
Your emotions can drive many decisions, but when it comes to money, they shouldn't be in the driver's seat. I'm Alex at Tree City Advisors of Apollon. We get to know you and your goals to build a holistic, time-based investment strategy. Investing isn't rocket science, but having the right partner helps you stay the course. Learn more about us at treecityadvisors.com or call us at 208-888-1244.
Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Imagine financial advice without a sales pitch to buy something. Imagine a long-term financial plan focused on your goals, not your investment professionals. At Tree City Advisors, we do things a bit differently than our peers. First, we help you define your purpose for investing. We help you clean up messes and complicated financial issues from your past, empowering you with knowledge, lower fees, and confidence. We design simple, effective investment strategies, and we teach you how it can all work without clutter, confusion, or high costs. Welcome to Tree City Advisors of Apollon. This is the way we think of financial advisors should work for their clients. At Tree City Advisors of Apollon, we provide flat fee financial planning and training. We also offer full service asset-based investment management, and we employ do-it-yourself technologies. Visit treecityadvisors.com. There's never a fee for an initial meeting or review, so let's get started. Learn more at treecityadvisors.com. Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
I know you've been waiting a little bit longer than normal.
Jen's manicure spot needs an extra pair of hands.
Who's at the front desk right now?
Someone who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
Deidre's not coming in today, but we have that whole bachelorette party.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
To offer valuable advice and earn clients' trust as an advisor, it's essential to always put their interests ahead of personal gain or the preferences of any particular company. Advisor Insurance Solutions is dedicated to delivering insurance solutions from an advisory perspective. They provide objective and unbiased insurance planning, making it an integral part of their comprehensive advisory process. If you're looking for insurance guidance that aligns with your financial goals, visit therealmoneypros.com. That's therealmoneypros.com.
Are you in the market to buy a house or just looking to refinance your current mortgage? For helping individuals and families achieve affordable homeownership, Academy Mortgage is a first choice. And when finding that perfect loan for the perfect home, you need a company that will treat you like family, not just another file. To help you navigate through today's ever-changing housing market, Academy Mortgage has zero down options available to you. That includes zero down with no mortgage insurance. We also offer medical professional loans and 2-1 rate buy-downs that help lower your monthly payment for the first several years of your loan. Origination, processing, underwriting, and closing and funding will all happen in-house. With over 34 years in the business, we know that buying a home is more than just a house. That's why it's important we protect our customers and safeguard their financial wellness for years to come. Visit us online at academymortgage.com today to start your journey to homeownership with Academy Mortgage. That's academymortgage.com. Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender.
Academy Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 3113, is an equal housing lender.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a speed bump. Did you hear what I said? I'm a speed bump. And if you have cut-rate car insurance, the cost to reattach your muffler could really be a bump in the road. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Running out of gift ideas for your loved one? Send flowers with Flower Fix. And need to create joy in your living or workspace? With many working from home these days, create joy in your space with flowers. Flower Fix is a subscription-based flower delivery service perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, or any special occasion. We offer 2 subscription options to choose from, a text-based subscription or a traditional one. Enjoy these big, beautiful hand-designed bouquets that are delivered straight from our flower fields to your door. Log on now, www.flowerfix.com, to choose your flowers today. Have control over when you want flowers delivered. Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? Get your flower fix at flowerfix.com. Use code FlowerFixPro to receive 20% off your first order. flowerfix.com.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Gallegos with Price for Life. Do you have a life insurance policy that you'd like to sell? If you don't need the coverage anymore or would rather not keep making the premium payments, visit our website, priceforlife.com. Don't let your policy lapse when you can potentially get a cash payment for it. There are several reasons why a life settlement might be a great value to you. Perhaps your policy is too expensive, or you feel you no longer need the death benefit, or you may think you need to wait until death before your family can get the money from the insurance company. This is why you may want to consider a life settlement. Price for Life has excellent resources available along with a free evaluation process to help you understand the value of your policy and the options available to you. Price for Life's clients have received hundreds of thousands of dollars for their policy when they would have otherwise just let it lapse by stopping the premium payments. Get the compensation you deserve. Visit priceforlife.com today and fill out the case evaluation form to see if your policy qualifies. That's price, the number 4, life.com. Priceforlife.com.
Healthcare expenses can be a burden, so why not make the most out of the money that we'd spend anyway? Take advantage of the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, a health savings account, also known as an HSA. That's why you need Lively. Visit Lively right away. Open your HSA, roll other HSA money into that new plan, and then start saving. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO.
Money Pros is brought to you by The Real Money Pros and the sponsors heard within this broadcast. Material presented on this program may not be suitable for you. Consult a registered investment advisor when evaluating any particular investment, security, or investment strategy. The views, opinions, or advice offered by the hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect those of this station. Brian Wiley and Jeremiah Bates are investment advisor representatives with Apollon Wealth Management, an SEC registered investment advisor. The Real Money Pros with Brian Wiley and Jeremiah Bates, the weekend's smartest money show. Investing, taxes, legal topics, insurance, and every other confusing money topic made simple.
That's exciting. We've got somebody great on the line with us already. This is the Real Money Pros second hour of the program. It is live, a financial program on the weekends. It's live. What? Yep. Can be done with fiduciaries, actually. We have no incentive for anything other than having to do and get to do the right things for our clients. It means in their best interest. It's the only way we work. If you actually want to see what we do for a living, you can find us at GoToTreeCityAdvisors.com, although we're not promoting that necessarily, but we're certainly not turning away great clients. Go to therealmoneypros.com. That's what we're talking about here. We are lucky. I was excited because I see who's on the line with us, Jeremiah. It's Alexandra Lundgren, and we call her Alex. It's a name that's also close in our office to Alec, so I always over-pronunciate Alec. But Alex is she is my business partner, Jeremiah's business partner with our financial advisory firm, and one of the coolest, strongest ladies I've ever met. I've been able to hang out with her for over 10 years now. I'm really lucky. She's on the line with us. She wants to talk about 529 plans with us. So 529's college savings plans. Jeremiah, you can give the overview of that as we bring in Alex and give her the greater introduction.
Yeah, 529 plans, think of it as a qualified account that you put money into with a specific purpose. Obviously, if you're talking about IRAs, that purpose is retirement. 529s is, generally speaking, for education costs. Most people are using this as a way to defer money, grow money for their kids or grandkids, specifically for college use. But Alex, this is why I'm excited to have you here with us. I am fortunate enough to have you a couple feet down from the office of myself. So anytime I have a question, I get to solicit you for advice and take up your time and be the hanger in the door, lean against it and say, hey, what do you think about this? So Alex, thanks for taking the time. I know during this week you made me aware of some awesome updates with 529 plans that really expand what you can use the money for. So we wanted to bring you on, have you talk about it, and just educate us and the listeners as to what are the updates and what things what we should pay attention to with these 529 plans.
Yeah. No, they've done some actually really neat things. I think the biggest change they've made is specifically with regards to K through 12 education. Now, keep in mind, this is the federal changes. The states haven't necessarily each state made these yet, but they almost always fall right in line. They just catch up and approve them on a state basis. But previously, you could withdraw up to $10,000 a year from a 529 for K through 12 private school tuition only. So if the tuition was less than 10, you couldn't take more than tuition. If the tuition was more than 10, you could only take 10. And they've made some changes to that. They've also made some changes not only to the amount, but also what it can be used for, K through 12. So some are effective right now and some aren't effective until January 1.
So what is the updated limit? Do you know that off the top of your head? Meaning, so if you're, I got a lot of clients that they send their kids to private school and they take advantage of the 529 because certain state provisions allow for that ability where they can do the contribution into the 529. They get the state tax deduction using the state 529, and then they use those funds to pay for the private school tuition. But to your point, if it's only $10,000, sometimes the private school tuition, if you have multiple kids going, it could be more than double that. So is it a substantial amount that really moves the needle from tax savings?
It is, or, if you get money gifted from grandparents and it's been growing since they're young, effective January 1 of 26, the annual amount you can withdraw for K through 12 is up now to $20,000
per household.
So they doubled it. So they doubled it.
Okay.
Are you guys still thinking about sending your daughter to private school?
No, I've changed my outlook on that completely.
Yeah.
This is just my own personal standpoint. I was looking at the numbers, and my approach, to be clear, I am still sending a little bit of money to a 529 account. To be clear, it's not very much. But the amount that we were going to consider using towards private school, I am taking that amount and I'm putting it into an investment account.
It's nice. Yeah, so we actually put our son through K through 6, I guess, through private school. And so it ended up being about, I think it was like $600 or $700 a month when you really spread it out. And so that $8,400 a year, being that we had to bear the cost, get any assistance from the state or anything like that, to be able to have paid through a 529 plan would have been very helpful. So I can actually really see the value for the K through 12. And increasing it to 20,000 is very realistic. I mean, that's it. Think about people on East Coast. Very common to send your kids to private schools. Very expensive. Same thing. Any way to be able to save money, quite the benefit. Alexandra Lundgren joining us here on the program. Phone lines are open, 979-596-6639. Here's how we keep Alex on the phone longer, is when you call the program with a Social Security question regarding anything having to do with Social Security, because she's got the answer, and to include this 529 plan change.
Alex, I do want to cover the Social Security topic that you and I ran into the office, because I think it's real life scenario talking about the spousal benefit, but still on the 529 topic. Is there any other big changes that people should be aware of? Like, does it expand the use of funds outside of the K through 12 tuition?
So inside the K through 12, one of the big expansions is it's not just tuition any longer. And this is effective already. It started in July of this year. It can now be books or other educational materials, things that are needed for classrooms, like a classroom fee. It's really going to be beneficial because of this for people who do homeschooling, because they can purchase the curriculum with it.
Wow.
Also, if you have kids that require occupational therapy, speech therapy, things like that for their education, you can cover the cost of those through the 529 K through 12 as well now. Those are huge.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Was there anything, I remember you mentioning this week too, that it can be used for, like, let's imagine the kids are out of the equation. Now you're looking at yourself as an individual. It's now allowing you to, not only for the vocational side, but like let's imagine you want to be a CPA and you're going to buy the curriculum and the study materials and all the testing costs that come along with that. Is it true that now you can use a 529 funds for that purpose? You can, which is really good, because they've actually reduced, if you're going to go those directions, student loan options a lot too. So it's now they're calling it kind of K through career. So professional designations that you need to maintain or test for, or like you said, the prep materials as well are all covered. So, and I find adults a lot of times who don't realize if they're going back to school, they can have their own 529. It's not just for your kids. Yeah, it's a fair point. Let's pivot to Social Security, because Alex, you and I had a joint meeting this week with a household that great people, still working. They're approaching full retirement age in Social Security, married, and they had specific questions on how the spousal benefit works. And I think you and I both agree that one of the biggest misconceptions with Social Security is, number one, the difference between spousal benefit, widow's benefit, and how that spousal benefit is even calculated for the spouse.
Right. It is so confusing. And I will say I have rarely run into anybody who truly understands it when we talk to them. Yes. Yeah. So for spousal, one of the things is you always hear, well, you get the equivalent of half of your spouse's Social Security. So what we see happen a lot of times is the lower earning spouse, they'll start early at 62, thinking that when the higher earning spouse starts, they'll just bump up to half of that amount. And that doesn't actually, that's not quite how it works. So it's very confusing for people. And people calling Social Security office get wrong information still. So just because they told you at the Social Security office doesn't make it true.
So you got to know the right question to ask. But so in this scenario, I'll just talk. We'll bring it up. So we had two married couple. They were approaching full retirement age, and we were looking at that benefit. The spousal benefit is 50% of the spouse's benefit at full retirement age. Number one, that's what it's calculated on, and it also rubber hits the road when they actually file. Correct.
Correct. So The spousal benefit is just the add-on amount to the lower earning spouse's already earned amount to bring it up to that half at full retirement age. And everything pivots off of that full retirement age number. And both their own earning record and then the add-on spousal amount are reduced based on the year that they start taking the benefit. And once that reduction is in place, it's never restored. So if you ever start before full retirement age, one or the other of those will be reduced.
Alex,
and you're never going to get higher.
Alex, thanks so much for joining us, and we really appreciate you taking a little time out of your Saturday to join us here. And you are a Real Money Pro. You're our business partner. If you want to learn more about her, go to therealmoneypros.com or treecityadvisors.com. Thanks again, Alex. Super appreciate that. Let's
Anytime.
move on. Thank you. Phone lines are open, 979-59-MONEY. This is the Real Money Pros.
Businesses today face a barrage of challenges. They hunt for top talent, the search for the right benefits package, and the ever-rising tide of healthcare rates. And putting together the right team to run your HR-related tasks can be expensive, let alone time-consuming. Enter Ataraxis PEO, your professional employer organization ready to tackle all your HR needs from payroll to benefits administration, payroll services, workers' compensation, and talent recruiting. They've got you covered. With Ataraxis, you gain access to a team of experts who handle the nitty-gritty of HR, freeing you up to focus on what you do best, growing your business and growing your revenue. Ataraxis takes the time to learn about your business, crafting personalized solutions to help you and your team succeed. So say goodbye to the stress of HR administration and hello to Ataraxis. Experience the power of a true business partner with Ataraxis PEO. Visit ataraxispeo.com. That's ATARAXISPEO.com. Ataraxis, elevating businesses for the benefit of all.
Looking to make your dream of home ownership a reality? Look no further than Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender. Academy strives to offer the best rates and terms tailored to your financial situation. At Academy Mortgage, you'll be treated like family, not just another file. Navigating today's ever-changing housing market can be challenging, but their team is here to help. Experience the zero-down options, including loans with no mortgage insurance. They also provide specialized medical professional loans and unique 2-to-1 rate buydowns that reduce your monthly payment for the first initial years of your loan. And forget about dealing with brokers and middlemen. With Academy Mortgage, everything happens in-house, from origination to funding. Say goodbye to hassles and surprises. Begin your home ownership journey today by visiting them online at academymortgage.com. That's academymortgage.com.
Academy Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 3113, is an equal housing lender.
Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Back to the Real Money Pros.
We are back. This is the Real Money Pros, therealmoneypros.com. That's how you find us. I'm Brian Wiley with Jeremiah Bates. Find our quality sponsors there, such as Ataraxis PEO, the best company. If you're running payroll, you're offering benefits, you need human resources help and advice, and of course, you need the technology to go with it. Go to ataraxispeo.com. That's ataraxispeo.com/offer. Or just go to therealmoneypros.com. Let them know that we sent you, please. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Phone lines 979-59-MONEY. Do we have the caller name on there? I'm sorry. I didn't see that on there.
That looks like we're getting it staged up. Just give it a second.
Copy that. All right. What's that? What are they writing right now? There we go. I'm just still looking for a name.
We got a chat feature coming through, so we have the location.
It's kind of funny, though. I like watching this. All right. AI. Well, I definitely want to talk about AI a little bit later in the program. Just, again, I want to maybe kind of give a warning, too. If not paying attention to AI could actually be something that might cost you in the future. It might be a little bit of money. All right. Calling out of Virginia, we've got John on the line. Let's take John. John, thanks for the patience. We're getting you queued up here.
Yeah, great. I was listening to your show just kind of while I'm working here, and I just kind of heard out of the corner of the room a reference to homeschooling and 529 plans, and I just wanted to share encouragement to anybody who's thinking about homeschooling that it's in our lives, we homeschool our kids all the way through. They never saw a yellow school bus. And we didn't have private school tuition, and I think they received an education that was superior to private school, and they accelerated grade levels above their contemporaries and were free to pursue, whatever their giftedness was in different subjects. And both of them were taking college courses as young teens. And we actually did something that was really kind of fun. I came up with this proclamation. Dads do this from time to time. And I said, we're going to do 4 days school and 1 day work, like white collar work. Both of them worked on Capitol Hill as young teens, not even old enough to drive. Learned
John.
About the
Can you imagine every
process.
Can you imagine every parent in the nation have the dedication to raise children like this? I mean, wouldn't that be fantastic? The nice thing is we have stories like yours, and we know that you can do it. Like I said, even the commitment for private school for our son was a stretch at the time, but we gave him the foundation that we wanted, and he's stronger because of it. Now, the problem is that, you've had nobody reimbursing you while you're still paying your property taxes, which includes the education expenses for your local area that you're not using. With no tax benefits, none of that, but at least now it's out there. So further encouragement.
The other cool thing is because my wife and I are both real estate brokers that I came out with another great proclamation. I said, you guys can go to any college you want. Cost is no object because I'm not paying a dime and you're not going in debt. They're like, what? Say that again, Dad? And I said, I'm not paying a dime and you're not going in debt. So they both became real estate agents at age 18, worked their way through college selling real estate, no college debt. They emerged on the other side with a skill. They're both real estate investors. They have multiple properties in multiple states.
Okay, and, I got to ask you a question, though. These kids have worked hard. Did they have any fun? What'd you guys do for fun?
Oh, are you kidding? We had tons of fun. Are you kidding me? So I'm a sailor. So I went to school locally, and my dorm room was a sailboat in Annapolis that I purchased. I took, a year off from college, worked my tail off, and saved up enough money to buy a small cruising sloop that I kept in Annapolis, and that's what I called my dorm room. And so I sailed all over the place, and so when we were raising kids, we always had a boat of some kind, and we would go out sailing, and when you're homeschooled, you have a lot of freedom. Your day is not stretched out, from 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, whatever it is, You really get all of your work done pretty much by lunchtime, and then Mom would say, okay, take the kids, get them out of here. And we would just go have adventures.
Good.
And
that's the only reason why, because you actually spent all that time with your kids. Like, look what you gained, look what the kids gained. The dedication is great, but a lot of people they don't have the time for it, or they haven't figured out a way to make the time for it professionally, whatever it might be. Thanks so much for the call. And there has not been a way for you to be able to save any money and no reward for it other than, what you've invested in your kids. No reward from society basically saying, hey, thanks for the dedication. We'll continue on with the phone lines. 979-59-MONEY is the phone line. Again, 979-596-6639. Let's go to Steve. Steve, what can we do for you? Do we have Steve? Can we put Steve on there? We're going to catch up to that one. All right.
We'll catch up to Steve. No, but to John's point, okay. So if we're going to talk about the 529 side of things, looking at Virginia, so With this new update to 529 plans, there is an ability where you can use and this is important to note, that you can go to various brokers and like E-Trade, Fidelity, these types of places, and establish a 529. Before you do that, look at the state that you live in, because for Virginia, you can deduct up to $4,000 per account off of your Virginia state income. So again, when it comes to 529 plans, there's tax benefits for it. Always be in consideration if there's some tax efficiencies that you could be missing when you're obviously on the, you're trying to do the right thing. Investment in human capital.
979-596-6639. I'm sorry, our phone lines have been janky today, but we are making them work, and we've got phone callers on the line right now. So calling out of Charleston, we have Steve on the line. Steve, thanks for calling the Real Money Pros.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. I was wondering if you guys are aware of any changes to HSA accounts from the One Big Beautiful Bill. I thought I'd heard that maybe limits had changed, or some of the things that you can use those dollars for have changed, but I'm not sure. Have you guys heard anything?
You know what? I'm going to look it up, but no, I don't recall seeing anything out of that. But I'm going to search it right now.
Well, so I think the one thing that I heard is that HSAs can now be can used with various types of plans. Meaning, generally speaking, if you are on the marketplace and you're getting these certain, meaning, let's say you're retired, but you're pre-Medicare age, or your employer doesn't offer health insurance, it looks like the ability of the plans that are offered will allow you to do an HSA in conjunction with that. And to be clear, for all the listeners out there, when we're talking about an HSA, it is a health savings account. It's a qualified account, much like a retirement account or a 529, but the purpose of the dollars that are put into an HSA are for healthcare expenses. And it's a laundry list of expenses that are eligible to be paid for using health savings account funds. You have the ability to invest in HSAs. I'd say the HSA is one of the most powerful accounts, the most tax advantage accounts that if it's available to you, because if you make a contribution, it reduces your taxable income on the federal and state level. You're eligible to invest the money so you get tax deferred growth. And then if you use the money on an eligible healthcare expense, it is tax free. That is triple tax savings that you have at your disposal. So again, the HSA should not be slept on, and it's not to be confused with a FSA, which is a flexible savings account where if you don't use it, you lose it. HSA, it carries with you.
So I did find something, Steve. Were you wondering about the direct primary care provision of it? Because I find that one to be really interesting for people that have those membership type health arrangements with the provider. They've not been able to use HSA funds for that, especially when it comes to the premiums. But it looks like this is now going to be allowed. Was that something you were wondering about, Steve? All right, we're going to come back from the break. Make sure the phone lines are working great, too. 979-59-MONEY. That's 979-596-6639. We'll take a break.
As we age, managing our finances can become increasingly complex with ever-changing tax laws, estate planning, insurance needs, and investment environments. At Apollon Wealth Management, their goal is simple: to help enrich your life with personalized, expert financial advice. With a nationwide network of advisors, they're committed to delivering the best solutions for your financial future. It's time to take control and get the guidance you deserve. Connect with an advisor today by visiting The Real Money Pros. That's therealmoneypros.com.
Did you have a tax strategy going into this year to help maximize your tax savings? I'm Jeremiah Bates with Tree City Advisors of Apollon. We consider key factors like required minimum distributions, Social Security, net unrealized appreciation, 1031 exchanges, and more. Because a good advisor should help you with more than just investment selection. Visit us today at treecityadvisors.com or call us at 208-888-1244.
Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then then use tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively. Our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
If you have a small business, Staples has your sign.
Banners for my bakery?
Staples has your sign.
Oh, posters for my new pet store.
Floor decals for a pharmacy.
Every day, Staples associates help every kind of small business create bold signs to make big impressions. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. This is your sign, so print it big at Staples. Ends 5/28. Visit staplesconnect.com/thisisyoursign for details.
Imagine financial advice without a sales pitch to buy something, and imagine a long-term financial plan focused on your goals, not somebody else's, and the day that you can leave your broker because you know how to do things on your own. At Tree City Advisors, we do things a bit differently than our peers. First, we help you define your purpose for investing. We help you clean up messes or complicated financial issues from your past. We help you organize all your financial pieces into something manageable. We're a fiduciary-only firm, and we design simple strategies. And we teach you how it all works without clutter, confusion, or high cost. We can either do your investments for you or we can teach you how to do them on your own. In the end, we empower you with knowledge, lower fees, and confidence. Welcome to Tree City Advisors. This is the way we think if financial advisors should work for their clients. At Tree City Advisors, we provide flat fee planning and training. We also offer full service asset management, and we employ do-it-yourself technologies. There's never a fee for an initial meeting or review, so let's get started. Learn more at treecityadvisors.com. Tree City Advisors is an SEC registered investment advisor.
You're listening to the Real Money Pros.
We are back. This is Real Money Pros, therealmoneypros.com. That's how you find us. Please sign up for the newsletter. Call us here on the program. Ping us with your questions, your comments. We'll take your ideas. Steve, thanks for that last call. And yeah, there's changes. The big, beautiful bill made changes. Some of the changes are still being digested, though. Like, is it really that much of a deal? For example, overtime pay. It's a big headline, but it's now turns out there's some parameters you've got to fit inside this one particular box. Then you have the onerous part of actually claiming it. So you've got to actually file your return, which means the people who are going to get this deductible or tax-free overtime, they're probably not going to be the people that are going to spend the time and go get it. And that's a problem. And we did have the Idaho representative, Russ Fulcher, on the program. He had talked about it. He was the one that actually had asked to put that provision inside the big, beautiful bill. They got it. But then with all those limitations, I still a little cross-eyed saying, well, what's the purpose of this? Is this the headline, or are we trying to make an effective actual tax break for people? Because most people won't take the time to actually do it. And so I don't know about all the changes in the HSA yet. So
I don't know. I think the biggest one is just more inclusive, because generally speaking, so starting January 2026, ACA plans, meaning Affordable Care Act plans, aka Obama Care plans, what's now going to be included as far as having HSA eligibility is bronze plans and catastrophic plans. So currently, many bronze plans didn't qualify as a high deductible healthcare plan, which means that they weren't eligible to have that HSA provision. So this is great. And this is something that anytime I meet with clients, it's one of the, or prospective clients, it's one of the first questions I ask. Let's talk about your health insurance. Where are you getting it? How is it provided? Is it HSA eligible? And we're going to dive into it because, like we talked about just a few minutes ago, the beauty of an HSA plan is the pre-tax savings. You can invest it and you can use that money tax-free. If you think that you're not going to have healthcare costs when you're into your aging years, That's a highly naive approach to take, in my opinion, meaning if you can set aside funds that are earmarked for healthcare expenses on a pre-tax basis, why wouldn't you do it? Like a good example in our family, so I'm using the HSA, if at all possible, as an additional retirement savings vehicle, but I'm also cognizant of I have a 7-year-old. Luckily, she's a little bit hesitant on being except a couple of weeks ago, she was on the we were at the park, like the playground. And she had this idea. She was watching this cartoon where she was going to take her jacket, put it over this like declining this slope, and she thought she was going to hang glide off of it, and her hands immediately fell off, face planted into it. So luckily she wasn't injured. But having young kids, especially with my son who's about to turn 1, this kid is already a wild man, and I think that those medical bills are going to stack up. Meaning how you use the HSA. I have enough cash set aside in my HSA that's conservative that meets up until my insurance starts to pay, right? Anything above and beyond that, I'm using as a long-term investment vehicle. So again, it follows along the lines of location of your asset, right? I'm getting pre-tax benefits, and it's meant for healthcare expenses. And then we're talking about how the allocation is inside of that asset. I need short-term liquidity to cover those immediate expenses that might pop up, having young kids, or if I fall on my dirt bike and hurt my shoulder. And then anything above and beyond that, I can use as more long-term investing and get some growth out of it for our future selves.
Well, I also use an HSA, but I've got a 22-year-old son that also likes to use my HSA, meaning he and I are actually both kind of injury prone, which is I have got no good excuses for having the low premium, high deductible plans because I seem to hit the max out of pocket each year. If it's not on me, it's going to be on my son. So here's the way I deal with it. One is I do fund up the HSA, but this year, candidly, I've exhausted my HSA. In fact, I've got to make the contribution for this year so I can get the payment I need out of for next month because I had a shoulder surgery in January, and I also had a knee replacement not long ago, and it's just like dumb to this point where I just need to get the high premium, low deductible plan, right? Well, the HSA savings, the notion of it has been fantastic. Pre-tax money, completely tax deferred, tax free if it's used for healthcare expenses. You know you're going to use them after retirement. So, I keep trying to put money in there, but I'm doing the right thing, which is I leave it to be cash. If I can see at least 2 years of out-of-pocket limits it actually just not being used in there, then I would finally invest it. LivelyMe.com is my favorite provider of that one. It's a really good service the way that it works. You have full control over it, so it's nice.
Well, then another cool thing about the HSA is if you really want to juice up and accelerate your retirement savings, as it stands right now, you can reimburse yourself retroactively for healthcare expenses that were incurred in the past. So, for example, let's fast forward the clock 20 years for myself and all these, maybe big ticket items like a surgery or these bigger out-of-pocket healthcare expenses that are HSA eligible. I'm not going to use the HSA. I'm going to use out-of-pocket money, but I'm going to save those receipts to really maximize the tax-deferred growth out of that HSA. Fast forward the clock, 20 years, I have a substantial balance in my HSA, and over those 20 years, let's just say I have $50,000 of out-of-pocket paid health expenses that were HSA eligible. Well, 20 years from now, 2045, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to pull $50,000 out of my HSA. And if in the event it's ever questioned and the tax man says, hey, you pulled $50,000 out of your HSA. What did you spend the money on? Well,
you'll have the records.
Here's the record of all of my healthcare expenses that I'm reimbursing myself for. So it's another strategy that you can use if you have that liquidity ability.
Now, this is going to bring something probably many didn't know, which is we've had the conversation earlier about 529 plan expenses, what you can spend the money on, and of course who you use it and some of the expansion of those. But on the expenses of a 529 plan, when you take the money out of a 529 plan, who do you tell about it? You don't tell anybody about it until somebody asks about it, meaning it's a self-audit program. The HSAs are the same thing. When you let's say you're going to put a request in to get reimbursed for something, you don't necessarily have to submit a receipt to the custodian. They're encouraging you to record a receipt with them so you can prove it if you do get audited. But really, it's a wait-and-see type of a game, and be careful with it. Because you can suddenly get into the spot where you're just pulling the money out thinking, well, I'm just reimbursing myself. If you get audited, you're going to have to prove it.
You have to prove it.
Yep.
And that's the same thing with business owners, meaning if you're going to do a business write-off, you got to prove that it's a legitimate write-off. That expense was, in fact, for your business. And that's where things can get a little greasy. So you want to have records. You want to make, I always let clients know, listen, you want to make sure that you have the proof that the write-off or the reimbursement that you're doing from an HSA or a 529, that it's legitimate. And with technology now, with online filing, whatever mechanism you're using, I mean, storing that proof, you can just take a quick screenshot of it. You got an email receipt, and you can store it away in your file. So generally now it's easier to keep track of these expenses. So if in the event you're audited, it's just a quick show of the proof and you can keep things moving.
All right, let's talk about AI. In artificial intelligence, I made the reference earlier that if you don't really start paying attention to it, you might get caught on the wrong side of it. The reason why I'm saying that is because I'm really watching the news. I'm trying to figure out why is there so much money and attention being put into AI? Meaning, where is like, let's say NVIDIA or OpenAI? How are they going to recoup their investment of $500 billion at some point? Who are the customers of it? Well, think about companies that have a lot of data analysts. Those are cost savings if you could replace them with AI. If you have phone centers where AI could do an adequate job and not just like it used to be, but actually sound like a speaking human, which we're really close to, those jobs are probably at risk. When I was thinking about how to invest for it, I'm thinking about companies that are going to be really able to see some real cost savings. That's too bad because that means somebody's losing their job. But if I'm going to do it on the right way, I want to start identifying these. Artificial intelligence, the amount of investment that's going into it by governments and by the private equity firms and investors that clearly know something that I think the rest of us should probably be paying attention to. I think a threat was kind of made this week when we had President Trump talk about 100% tariff on semiconductors coming into the United States, which oddly happened with Tim Cook standing in the Oval Office with a $100 billion pledge, which is just pennies for Apple to be able to set up a fab, an actual fab here in the United States. I think that poses some problems, actually, because every AI chip made right now is made in Taiwan. But what do you do?
Yeah. You could look at this as the gold rush, meaning there's different aspects of this AI, and when we're looking at this from an investing opportunity, obviously there's the technology itself and the companies that are going to be beneficiaries from an efficiency standpoint on that and how that returns and how that helps their bottom line. There's the actual hardware. There's the chip manufacturers, which is, there you go, Taiwan Semiconductor. You have NVIDIA, which is the chip designer, and they do a little bit of manufacturing. There's the data centers, meaning there's the infrastructure, there's the powering of these data centers. I mean, there's a whole ecosystem of how this all works together. Now, I think one argument you can have is how much of this front loading of investment is happening right now by these magnificent 7 companies to the likes of Microsoft, Apple, all of that. You know, that's one question that I have, meaning, is this sustainable over the long term, or is it a front load? It's so fast over the past years and maybe over the next 5 to 10 years to where we start to see that start to taper off. But at some point, Wall Street and investors are going to want to see that return on investment. Microsoft, you're doing $500 million into this technology. Where's the return for you, the company? This is The Real Money Pros. Stay with us.
Your emotions can drive many decisions, but when it comes to money, they shouldn't be in the driver's seat. I'm Alex at Tree City Advisors of Apollon. We get to know you and your goals to build a holistic, time-based investment strategy. Investing isn't rocket science, but having the right partner helps you stay the course. Learn more about us at treecityadvisors.com or call us at 208-888-1244.
Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Apollon Wealth Management has transformed the way our team delivers financial advice. With their support, we're more equipped and more empowered than ever to provide top-tier financial planning, investment management, and personalized financial guidance. Apollon has been a key partner in helping us achieve our clients' unique financial goals. Whether you're an advisor looking to enhance your client experience or an investor ready to take your wealth management to the next level, reach out today to The Real Money Pros by visiting therealmoneypros.com. Let's elevate your financial future today.
I know you've been waiting a little bit longer than normal.
Jen's manicure spot needs an extra pair of hands.
Who's at the front desk right now?
Someone who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
Deidre's not coming in today, but we have that whole bachelorette party.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then use tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively, our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
Back to the Real Money Pros.
We are back. This is the Real Money Pros, therealmoneypros.com. That's how you find us. We're having fun on a Saturday. I mean, we're talking about money. That's easy. It's like just hanging out with friends. They got questions. We got answers for you. And you just call the program and we'll get on with it. We like that. We have Jennifer on the line right now at 979-59-MONEY. Jennifer, what can we do for you? Oh, Jennifer. Oh, I know. We have control over that now. We just did that over the last break. Can you put Jennifer on?
It's open. We're rocking and rolling.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Thanks.
What can we do for you?
You guys were just talking about HSA accounts, and I have a question. I had an accident recently, and I've been seeing doctors and specialists, and I've been having to pay out of pocket, so I've been using my HSA account to pay for that. But now I'm wondering, but I also have some investment accounts, and like right now I have like $1,000 in dividends. Should I use what money, or should I just pay out of my salary?
Legal money laundering. Let's just say it's this way. So I know exactly what you're talking about. So do you still have contribution room for this year into your HSA?
Yeah, I pay monthly out of my paycheck.
Okay. Could you just advance it with whatever money you take out of those dividends? So you're going to have to pay normal income taxes on those. If you put it into the HSA, and even if you remove it a few weeks later for a legitimate medical expense, you in essence get the tax benefit out of it. That's why I said legal money laundering. You're changing the tax classification of some money, and you're using it for a legitimate expense, which is for your health care. Anything but premiums for the most part for the HSAs.
Yeah, I agree. So what the iterative steps would be on this is that the money that you accumulated through dividends that's just sitting in cash, you route that into your HSA and then pay that medical cost out of your HSA. So you get the benefit of the pre-tax savings of doing the HSA contribution. And then obviously it's tax-free on the way out because you're using it on an eligible healthcare expense.
Okay, so keep using my HSA.
Yep.
Basically.
I would.
But make sure,
Okay.
but use that ability, because if I would say this, if you're not on track to max fund it, meaning obviously you're doing it through payroll deduction or payroll additions, your employer may not allow for an external contribution from an outside source of outside payroll. I'd say find that out. And if that's not available to you, you can do one of two things. You can just do an increase of your payroll deduction for that medical cost, so you have that balance in your HSA, or there's no rules against opening up an additional HSA and then doing that contribution. But if you have two HSAs, meaning two separate HSA accounts, you're still beholden to that annual contribution limit. So just be mindful of that. So, but to answer your question directly, yes, continue to use the HSA because that's what it's there for. But let's make sure that you're utilizing that cash that's on hand and get close to maxing your HSA for this year, 2025.
Okay, great. Perfect. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the call, Jennifer. Certainly appreciate that. And again, setting up an outside custodian is if you still have room and you're under the limits for the HSA, let's say your trajectory because of your monthly contributions for the employer, and the employer says that you can't put money in from an outside resource, well, then just set up a second HSA. You still are working with the same aggregate limit. So then that extra room, you could just put it in there, and then you'll have better control, I would imagine, as well. You don't have to tell your employer about it and then go through paperwork, all that stuff.
Yeah, and sometimes those custodians, they do require like it's like almost like a reimbursement. It's there's friction with it versus if you opened up, let's say, like an HSA through Lively, that HSA provider. I think there's a few more out there. Obviously, it's recommended. That's the one I use, speaking candidly here. And it's nice because they ask you, hey, upload the receipt. So it's just for proper record keeping, but it's not a reimbursement, meaning you can just
it's actually it's like transferring money from one bank account to another bank account. You just do the drop downs and you move it, but they'll try to get into the middle of it and say, do you want to upload a receipt or do you want to make a note specifically what this is about? It would be a really wise practice for you to at least use that system. But otherwise, no friction.
Contribution limits for HSA, $4,300 if it's only you on your medical plan, $8,550, $8,550 if it's family coverage, meaning if it's just you and a spouse. And if you're 55 and older, you get an additional $1,000. So if you're a household, married couple, both over 55, that's close to over $10,000 that you could defer into an HSA on a pre-tax basis.
Well, here's a question for you, because I know that you're working and interfacing with a lot of people with this question, which is, do you suggest the one-time rollover from an IRA into an HSA, which is allowed to somebody?
It depends. I do love that provision of that rollover into an HSA, because one thing you have to remember is this. When you hit 65, you are no longer eligible to do contributions into an HSA. You can use the HSA funds as on those healthcare expenses, but you no longer have the ability to put money in. Whether you're making that determination, whether you're going to do that once in a lifetime eligibility of rolling money from a traditional IRA, meaning you got the pre-tax benefit, you can roll money into an HSA from an IRA, which is great. Look at the tax situation, meaning because if you do a rollover, that takes away your ability to do a contribution. So where I would suggest you look at that, weigh the options, what's your taxable income in that year? Meaning if you're going to benefit saving taxes on the contribution, then do the contribution. But if taxable income is relatively low and you're not going to see significant tax savings on that contribution, then do the rollover and fortify that HSA balance as you go into your retirement.
But you have to make no mistake of the fact that you're going to spend the money in your Medicare years after age 65. You're going to have additional expenses that you're going to have to pay for. And the pathway for that is, let's imagine you have Social Security income. You may be taxed on that as you receive it as income. Then you pay the healthcare expense with no deduction. So if that's the case, you already know that those expenses will occur. Why wouldn't you take advantage of the HSA one-time rollover if you're eligible, of course? Put at least something in there because you know you're going to spend the money someday, and at least those dollars were completely tax-free.
Completely tax-free. Because remember, let's talk about the efficiencies of this. If you had that money inside of your IRA and you had a healthcare event and you pulled the money out of the IRA to pay for it, you're paying ordinary income taxes on it, subject to the federal and state income tax. If you did the rollover into the rollover from IRA into the HSA, then use the HSA dollars for the healthcare costs. There's no taxes that you're subject to. These are the efficiencies that we're talking about, which are not complicated moves.
And this is also part of the same problem I brought up at the beginning of the program, which is we're just continuing to patchwork our system. We need a replacement, but until then, you need an interpreter, and we're the interpreters right now. What are the rules on the one-time rollover? It's age 55 plus.
No, it's the main thing that you need to know is that it's a one-time election, and the biggest thing is that it takes place of the contribution amount. So let's imagine that let's imagine you're 60 years old. You hear this, you're like, I have a HSA that I can roll money into. Then that means that if you're self-only covered, that you can do $5,300. So you have to understand, though, that you can't do a contribution and a rollover. It's one or the other or a combination. So if you do a rollover of $5,300 in this scenario, you cannot do a contribution in addition to that. Logistics are extremely important on this. You want to make sure that the documentation is accurately filled out, and you're working with both custodians, meaning who is the custodian of your HSA, where it's held, making sure that you're following their procedure along with the holder of your IRA who is going to be delivering those funds to your HSA. And then making sure that it's trued up on your tax return, that the movement of funds out of your IRA is not marked as a distribution. It's marked as a once rollover into the HSA. Because this is great in theory, but where things can fall apart are actually in the steps to get it done. And the last thing you want to do is have a potentially $8,500, $8,550 or $9,500 marked distribution of your IRA when it should have been coded as a rollover.
There used to be an age restriction on when the rollover could occur. That's been removed, apparently, huh?
I believe so.
Any age.
Yep.
All right. Well, this is Real Money Pros. You've got questions. We've got answers. Our greatest suggestion is sit down with a qualified financial advisor, work with them in a fiduciary relationship, meaning tell them you don't want to be paying commissions, you'll pay fees. That's it. Get the advice, get the plan, make the understanding of that you sometimes are going to get a little scared and you need the counsel. That is a great way to do this. Better yet, start doing the planning on your own. You can learn to do a lot of this. Listen to this program, participate with us, contact us, go to therealmoneypros.com. Please recognize our great sponsors. We've vetted them all out. We won't allow them to advertise if we don't know the type of business and the kind of business and how they do business. And we want to make sure we experience them. Go to therealmoneypros.com. Jeremiah Bates, thank you. I'm Brian Wiley. Again, find us at therealmoneypros.com.
The Real Money Pros is hosted by Brian Wiley and other team members of Tree City Advisors of Apollon. Tree City Advisors of Apollon is a DBA of Apollon Wealth Management, an SEC registered investment advisor and affiliate of the Real Money Pros. The Real Money Pros and Tree City of Apollon are not affiliated with any of the companies or non-advisor professionals participating on this program. Ataraxis PEO and Apollon Wealth Management are financial sponsors of the Real Money Pros. Additionally, Apollon receives advisory fees for these sponsors and or their representatives for investment advice. Log into